Have you ever wondered why you sometimes wake up with a feeling of peace so profound, it makes no sense in the context of your life? Or why other mornings greet you with a heaviness, as if you've been somewhere you can't quite remember, a place that felt more real than this waking world? What if I told you that sleep is not simply rest, not merely the shutting down of your senses, but a gateway, a veil between dimensions? That each night, when your body lies still, your soul embarks on a journey so ancient, so sacred, that your conscious mind could not hold its entirety? And what if the truth is this? You do not sleep. Your body sleeps. But you, the eternal, the spirit, the soul, you travel. Welcome to the forgotten temple of the night, where dreams are not fiction but encrypted messages, where your spirit communes with higher realms, karmic teachers, and astral echoes of past lives. Before we go deeper, take a moment. Subscribe, if you haven't already, because this journey is about to awaken something ancient inside you. Share this with those who have always sensed there was more to their dreams than neurons firing. Because after this, you'll never look at sleep the same way again. As your eyelids grow heavy and your breathing slows, something sacred begins to happen. You are not drifting off into darkness. You are being pulled inward. The first stage is the hypnagogic state. Mystics have called it the liminal doorway. In this threshold between waking and dreaming, your brain begins to decelerate. You hover in a strange in-between, where visions dance behind your eyes, colors pulse with unknown meanings, and the edge between self and the infinite blurs. This is not imagination. This is the soul unhooking from the flesh. Ancient Egyptians called this moment the opening of the mouth of the soul, when the Ka, life force, begins to release and rise. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, it is said that the dream state and the bardo, the realm between death and rebirth, are mirrors. The soul learns in sleep what it will face in death. So what happens now? Your soul exits through one of 7 gates, each corresponding to a chakra, a portal of consciousness. Which gate you exit through depends on your level of spiritual awareness, the purity of your intention, and the weight of your karma. Most souls slip quietly through the solar plexus gate, just below the ribs. Here, the spirit exits with dreams of anxiety, hunger, ambition, unresolved desire. But the awakened, they leave through the third eye gate or even the crown gate. These souls enter lucid realms, ethereal temples, and ancestral libraries. As your body rests, your soul begins to rise, tethered only by a silver thread, an ancient symbol found in countless mystical texts. Ecclesiastes 12 verse 6 speaks of this, before the silver cord is loosed, hinting at the cord that binds the spirit to the flesh. You float. Not in your room. Not in your city. You are somewhere between. The astral plane. You see it differently depending on your vibration. To some, it looks like a dreamlike replica of Earth. To others, it is a shifting sea of light and color. But one thing remains true. It responds to your thoughts instantly. Every fear becomes shadow. Every love becomes light. Every unhealed wound becomes a lesson. This is why nightmares matter. They are not random. They are mirrors of your inner landscape. But there's more. Not all souls simply wander. Some are pulled into councils, meetings, reunions. You may meet with guides, souls you've journeyed with for lifetimes, or teachers who take you into the Akashic Hall, a luminous archive where every thought, action, and lifetime is recorded. You don't remember these teachings upon waking, because your conscious mind can't yet hold the vibration. But signs remain. Intuitions. Sudden clarity. A shift in your energy. Your soul knows. It remembers. And as you venture deeper, you begin to shed your earthly attachments. Ego begins to dissolve. Time becomes meaningless. You may slip into the causal realm, where the blueprint of your karma unfolds before you like a sacred scroll. Here, you may be shown why you suffer, why you fear, why you repeat, and more importantly, how to break the cycle. This is not fiction. This is the journey your soul makes every night, without your permission but for your liberation. And the further you travel, the closer you come to something eternal, something holy. But we are only beginning, because your soul doesn't always fly upward. Sometimes, it descends. Not all journeys lift the soul into celestial light. Sometimes, the descent is necessary, not as punishment, but as initiation. You do not descend because you are unworthy. You descend because there are truths buried in shadow that only the brave retrieve. So now, your soul drifts downward, passing through layers of density, moving through realms forgotten by time and untouched by the sun. These are the subconscious domains, where your fears, traumas, and unresolved energies reside, not in metaphor, but in structure, in symbols, in living, breathing archetypes. And here, the soul is tested. You find yourself in surreal landscapes, distorted cities, endless hallways, broken staircases, familiar faces with unfamiliar eyes. These are not dreams. These are the representations of your inner fragmentation. To the unaware, it's a nightmare. But to the awakened, it's an opportunity. In these lower realms, known to some as the lower astral, clippeth, or shadow realms, the soul undergoes confrontation. You meet your unhealed self, the one who was wounded in childhood, the one who hides behind performance, the one who fears love because it never felt safe. These shadows take form. They speak. They beg. They trick. But their purpose is not malevolent. Their purpose is to reveal. You must see them. Embrace them. Only then do they dissolve. Only then do you ascend. This is the soul's nightly alchemy. What you call nightmares are sacred messages coded in symbolic language, urging you to reclaim forgotten parts of your being. Carl Jung called this process shadow integration. But mystics knew it long before psychology had a name. In ancient Hermetic teachings, the journey through the underworld was necessary before accessing higher knowledge. Even Jesus descended into Hades before resurrection. Even the Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, facing Mara, the Lord of Illusion, before enlightenment. So must you. Your descent is not failure. It is the path. And sometimes, in these shadow realms, your soul encounters entities. Not all are figments. Some are real. Thought forms created by collective fear, ancient unresolved energies, wandering spirits. They cannot harm you unless you fear them. Because in these realms, fear is food. Power is projection. Protection is presence. If your soul remains grounded in light, these entities cannot touch you. But if your soul forgets, if your will weakens, you may wake up drained, anxious, or overwhelmed, not knowing why. This is why spiritual hygiene before sleep is vital. Cleanse your energy. Protect your space. Anchor in intention. But know this. Even in descent, you are being led. Because beyond the shadows lies the treasure. The unshakable core. The divine spark waiting to be reclaimed. And as the soul confronts, heals, and integrates these lost fragments, a subtle transformation begins. The nightmares become teachings. The descent becomes ascent. And the soul prepares to rise again. Not back into the body. Not yet. But into the realms where memory awakens. Where the divine blueprint is remembered. Where your mission, your purpose, your truth is made known. You have descended, faced your shadows, reclaimed your fragments. Now, something shifts. The density thins. The vibrations rise. Your soul, renewed by confrontation, begins to ascend, not randomly, but with direction, guided by a pull you cannot describe, only feel. You enter the middle realms, not the astral playgrounds of dreams, not the shadowlands of healing, but something older, deeper, sacred. These are the memory temples of the soul, structures of consciousness where your lifetimes echo like distant bells. They are not built of stone or marble. They are formed by resonance, light, and sacred geometry. You walk into a temple, but it is also you. Here, every soul has its own chamber, its own record, its own archive. This is the Akashic Vault, spoken of in Vedic texts as the etheric library, in mystic Christianity as the Book of Life, and in ancient Egyptian traditions as the Hall of Ma'at, where the soul's heart is weighed. You do not read these records with your eyes. You remember them. Suddenly, you recall a face you've never seen in this life, yet you feel ancient love. You feel grief for a war you never fought, yet your spirit trembles with recognition. You see yourself as a monk, a warrior, a healer, a betrayer. Not for fantasy, but for remembrance. Because in these temples, karma is shown not as punishment, but as pattern. The same choices, over and over. The same fears, reborn in different skins. The same soul, evolving, slowly, lovingly, painfully. You understand now, your current life is a thread in a vast tapestry. And each night, your soul returns here, not always, but often, because the records must be updated, studied, aligned. Sometimes you are shown visions. Sometimes you are given tasks. Sometimes you simply sit, in the silence of soul truth, and remember who you are beneath the mask of identity. You may meet guides here, light beings, ascended teachers, soul family who do not speak in words, but in frequencies, in downloads, in transmissions that come later as dreams, ideas, or sudden changes in your life. And sometimes, you meet yourself. Your higher self. That radiant aspect of you untouched by trauma, unbound by ego, unchained by time. They do not instruct. They remind. They do not demand. They invite. They may place their hand on your chest and transmit lifetimes of wisdom in a single breath. And your soul weeps, not from sadness, but from recognition. Because you forgot. And now, in this sacred sleep, you remember. This is why you wake up some mornings with tears, or courage, or an unexplainable peace. It wasn't just a dream. It was a visit. A return to your temple. A reunion with your truth. And yet, there is more. For even above the memory temples, the soul may ascend further still, to realms where form dissolves, where light sings, where oneness is not a concept but a living experience. But few reach these realms often. They are earned not by belief, but by frequency. Still, you've touched them before, in dreams you forgot, in moments you dismissed, in fragments of stillness between sleep and wake. You have been there. And you will return. But the journey is not over. Before your soul can bring back what it has gathered, it must pass through the veil once more. Not to rise, but to re-enter. You've wandered through shadows. You've risen through temples of light. You've tasted the silence of the eternal. But now, something begins to pull. Not out of force, but rhythm. A silent magnetism drawing your soul back to its earthly shell. This is the return, the soul's re-entry into the physical body. And yet, it is not immediate. Nor is it gentle. Before you awaken, you pass through the most mysterious threshold of all. The veil of forgetting. This veil is not punishment. It is protection. Because if you remembered everything your soul witnessed, confronted, and remembered every night, your waking mind would fracture. Your ego would dissolve. Your human life would become unmanageable. And yet, traces remain. Symbols. Fragments. Echoes. They appear in dreams that linger all day. In emotions that have no story. In flashes of light behind your eyes. In whispers that feel like memory. This veil is what makes sleep feel empty to many. But it is anything but. Every night, your soul gathers wisdom, codes, alignments. It downloads frequencies your body is still learning to hold. It unknots karmic threads that would otherwise take decades. It heals wounds you never knew existed. And when it returns, when it re-enters through the same gate it left from, it carries this subtle alchemy back with it. You breathe differently. You speak softer. You avoid certain people, not knowing why. You feel called to change jobs, read sacred texts, explore spiritual truths. This is not coincidence. It is the ripple effect of your soul's nocturnal journeys. Even science, in its own limited way, has discovered that sleep is where integration occurs. But mystics always knew, sleep is where ascension begins. Still, the veil persists. And so we awaken, confused, hungry, rushing into emails and noise. But those who are conscious, those who listen, begin to reclaim these hours. They create sacred rituals before sleep. They program their dreams. They ask for visions, guidance, release. And they receive. Because intention is the key that pierces the veil. When you fall asleep consciously, you wake up differently. And more than that, you begin to remember. You start to train your mind to hold the frequency of your soul. You begin to decipher the language of the dream world. You see symbols repeating, birds, bridges, doors, storms. These are not random. They are code. Messages from your soul, telling you where to go, what to heal, what to become. But you must choose to listen. Because the world you awaken to each morning is not the real one. It is a projection. a stage, a test. The real world, the one your soul visits at night, is the source, the blueprint, the truth. And now, as you grow more aware, you begin to live differently. Sleep is no longer escape. It becomes initiation. Each night, a sacred ceremony. Each dream, a scroll. Each return, a rebirth. And still, one final mystery remains. Because some nights, your soul does not return alone. Some nights, your soul travels farther than usual. And on these nights, you do not return alone. Because there are companions of the night, beings, energies, fragments, that attach themselves to your soul's field during its journey. Some are divine. Others are curious. Some are burdens you've agreed to carry. You may wake up with insights not your own, emotions that don't belong to you, or an inspiration so sudden it feels as if it was given. That's because it was. These companions are many. There are soul guides, light beings who walk beside your spirit, offering healing, aligning timelines, preparing you for shifts you have yet to experience. There are ancestral spirits, family members long past, visiting to complete the conversations death interrupted. There are walk-ins, higher soul aspects that enter temporarily when you are ready to receive deeper truth. And yes, there are also energetic parasites, thought forms, or emotional entities that linger when you have not spiritually shielded yourself. But fear not, because when your soul travels with awareness, you choose who enters your field. This is the secret. Awareness is your armor. Intention is your sword. Love is your shield. And in this sacred journey through sleep, you are never alone. Even now, as you listen to these words, your soul remembers places it has visited, realms it longs to return to. The echo of dreams you forgot begin to stir. The quiet yearning for truth begins to awaken. You've felt it, haven't you? That sense that sleep is not the end of the day, but the beginning of something more. That your soul does not rest. It works, it heals, it remembers. Each night, your spirit whispers to you from the realms beyond the veil. You are more than flesh. You are more than thought. You are an eternal traveler of the hidden worlds. And now, it is time to remember. To revere your sleep as sacred. To turn your bedroom into a temple. To speak to your soul before bed and say, "Guide me, teach me, heal me." To wake each morning with gratitude, not just for another day, but for the unseen journey you just returned from. And to know, deep in your bones, that every night, your soul steps beyond this world and touches eternity. You are not just a dreamer. You are a traveler of realms. A seeker of light. A soul in motion. So tonight, before you sleep, close your eyes with intention. Speak to your soul. Listen in the silence. And when you awaken, look deeper. If this awakens something within you, if you feel the call to remember who and what you truly are, then join the journey. Subscribe to Soul Pathway, your temple of sacred truth, esoteric wisdom, and the hidden teachings of the soul's path. Click, share, comment, because the world needs more awakened dreamers. More souls who walk the earth remembering where they go when they sleep. You are not alone. You never were. And now, you are awakening.